We have here box number 48. There are about 10 boxes I haven't opened in there, and they were sort of stuck in the corner. And because of that, I kind of discounted them in my mind. And I thought, oh, they'll probably just close or something like that. I threw all the light boxes over there. But as it turns out, it's a pretty big mix. I moved them around a little bit so I got to feel how heavy they were. So the good news, I suppose, is that there's going to be more books, I think, and more paper things. It's good news to me because I find that a lot more interesting than the clothing, although, as you've seen, sometimes the clothing has a story as well. All right, and this one looks like instead of being books, it's tools and electronics, and this might actually be kind of interesting. So let's see. Oh, this is a sewing box. This is all my sewing stuff, so that's nice. I was never really into sewing. I think it's a skill I should have gotten, especially as my mother was very into sewing. But, you know, they don't teach boys those things in the 70s and 80s, so I'm ignorant. No good HDMI cable. Oh, good. I'll find use of some of this. I mean, this is some of the better cables. I remember I had a huge collection of cables that I left in Ohio, and fortunately, the person who ended up cheating me did actually do a few good things before she did that, which is that she sold off like a whole bunch of cables to a collector that she knows, somebody who just likes to have all these cables around and then resells them and does good business that way. Unfortunately, she still has several of my old computers and isn't answering any contact, but just what you wanted to hear, right? Anyway, some adapters, more plugs. I'm just looking. Oh, this is good. This actually is a cable that, excuse me, you run from a stereo system and then the other end is a computer connection, USB, and then there's corresponding software so you can actually record old records and tapes and analog media into digital form. I did that a couple times, and you know, I have a whole lot of old recording machine tapes and things like that, and interview tapes that I did before I started recording them digitally. And I may end up digitizing all of those. Aha, and I'm very happy to find this, some comic book bags and boards, and then there's also the magazine size ones in here, and I really need this, and that's going to start a huge project of me putting everything in bags and boards. So I'm actually very grateful to find that now. All right, this is a little ornament that my mother gave me at some point, I think possibly while I was at summer camp or in college or something. So this goes back probably to the 80s, and it's a paperweight. Oh yeah, the mugs from when I ran that anti-spam conference in San Francisco. And I think there are just a couple more of those wrapped up in t-shirts, and as I learned last time, always look at clothing before you say, oh, it's not interesting, because maybe it is interesting. And this one, in fact, is for the neighborhood I lived in San Francisco, Dubose Triangle, which is focused around Dubose Park, lovely dog park in San Francisco. So other than, excuse me, other than a few memory cards and such, that's it. Not a bad box. And as far as interest goes, I would give it a 3 or 4 out of 10, although my story was a 5 or 6 out of 10.